So, great, we've got a lot of answers. You're very creative teachers in Kazakhstan, very, very creative. Um, I think we all say in the chat that the leopard is going to get the cheetahs, the Cheetos, the crisps, not the man. And lots of funny ideas about the duck as well. Okay, well, I wanted to start with something fun because the topic is motivation. Okay, so the topic today is called it's understanding motivation in the classroom. You have already been studying motivation in the classroom in your module work in the forums in both places. So I know that it's something you've been thinking about. Maybe you've been trying activities in the classroom. So I thought it was a good idea to talk about this again today and give you some ideas and a different perspective. So let's go. I want to talk about what we think motivated learners do, what motivational teachers do, and we'll share some practices and activities. I'll tell you one of my favorite activities. All right, let's start. So let's describe motivated learners. Let's think about what that means. Here are lots of sentence starters. They're not finished. So I want you in the chat to choose 2 or 3 of these and finish the sentence. Put something in the dot, dot, dot. I'll wait while you do that. I'm going to read the chat, see what's happening. Okay, so some people say learners have a positive attitude to doing tasks. Yeah, a desire to learn. Yeah, great answer. Are willing to communicate. Are creative. I like that. Are open to learn, says Nadira. Ludmilla says they are eager to get knowledge. Ah, willing to explore. That's lovely. Okay. They're goal focused. All right, they're well organized. Great. Yeah, we have lots and lots and lots of answers. Okay, I'm going to show you what research has said. Your answers are not wrong, they're great, but research has shown that motivated learners have a positive attitude towards doing tasks. So these things, positivity and motivation, go together. They have a desire to succeed. They want to learn. They want to do better. They want to please you as well. They're goal focused. That could be a short-term goal, like finishing the activity. It could be a long-term goal, maybe for a teenage learner who wants to go to university and study in English, for example. Motivated learners have had previous positive learning experiences. So, what does that tell us? That if we want our learners to be motivated next year with their next teacher, then we want to give them the positive experience learning a language now. We want to start that snowball. Motivated learners are willing to communicate. They want to communicate, they want to speak in the classroom. These days, communication is not just speaking. Maybe they want to take part in the chat exchange between your class and a class in another country. So it could be writing as well. Also, well, we can see we've got lots and lots more answers. Yeah, they're hardworking and focused. Yeah, we've got lots of answers about this. So we're thinking about motivational learners. Now let's think about, well, we're going to watch a really nice little short film and think about where that motivation comes from. We're going to think about all these things and see a father and a child and think about what motivates or demotivates them. It's an 8-minute film, but that's too much, sadly, for our webinar. So I'm going to show you the start and I will give you the link. You can look at it later. So let me, for a second, stop sharing so that I can make sure that I show you the sound. Okay, you might need a paper and a pen because you are thinking about the 2 questions on the screen. Oh, I'm going to stop there, even though it's such a lovely film. I'll pass it later in the chat. Um, so I saw lots of answers about what motivates and demotivates the child. I'm going to read some of the answers at the moment. The music motivates the child. The child is creative, but boring, monotonous work demotivates both of them. To do the things that you don't like demotivates them. No attention for the child demotivates them. Lots of repetitive tasks and you don't know what you're doing demotivates them. But the love and affection motivates them. Well, look, we've just described a fantastic classroom. The same things apply. Of course, we sometimes need to do tasks which are repetitive, that repeat, because we're language teachers. We work a lot with memory, where we want people to remember the words and the structures and the chunks that we teach them. But we always have to think about doing this in creative ways, giving attention, giving praise to motivate. I hope that helps you start thinking about motivation for today. I've made a list of things that a teacher who motivates does. Now, tell me, do you know what is under the green box? Tell me about the first one. What's under the green box? Yeah, you've got it. High order thinking skills. Yeah. The next one, number 2, you have it. Takes risks. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I went the wrong direction. Here we go. Provides, what do you think it is? Yeah, you've got it. Provides choice. The next one involves students in classroom decision making. Oh, gives feedback from the students. The one at the bottom communicates optimism and great mindset. No. Goal. No. Oh, grow, and the noun is growth mindset. And the last one, they allow students to experience success. So let's look at all of these different things. And let's think of activities that can help us be a teacher who does all of these things. Okay. So a teacher who motivates asks for higher order thinking skills. Well, what does this mean? You might think of Bloom's taxonomy. If you haven't ever looked at Bloom's taxonomy, it's a whole world of research that you could start doing. It was developed, wow, back in the 1950s and revised in 2001. And it's a way of thinking about what tasks have different levels of cognitive thinking skills. Lower order, like remembering, understanding, and applying information, so using information in a new way. These are not necessarily bad. In a language classroom, we have to remember and understand. But if we try to add some activities with analysis and evaluation and to create things into the class, then that's really motivating for learners. So later, I'm going to show you my favorite activity with this. and you can tell me what you think. A teacher who motivates, number 2 on the list, was experiments and takes risks. So let's think about how often you do something like this in the classroom. You decide, okay, we're going to take the thing on the worksheet and let's dramatize it. Let's let the students act. Let's create a performance. It's risky, especially if you work with this age of students like me. It's a lot of work for them. It's a lot of work for you. Acting is not easy. The outcome is not always perfect, but take the risks and it's memorable. It's really memorable, and doing something active, especially if it's going to be in front of somebody else, is really motivating. So that's my top tip for taking risks. My top tip for breaking the routine is this. I work with primary learners, and a teacher told me about this simple activity. When they do a reading activity, she says, okay, where do you want to read? You can read anywhere in this classroom. The students say, what? I don't understand. Says, okay, you can sit on your desk. That's fine. And one student says, well, can I go under the desk? And she said, yeah, okay. If you want to read under the desk and you do the work under the desk, it's okay. That's fine. I tried it and it really was really fun. I tried it with 11-year-olds, which I thought were maybe too old, but they weren't too old. Some of them sat on the desk. Some of them stood up. They actually preferred to read standing up. And one went under the desk. They're going to remember that reading text. They're going to remember that day. They were really quiet and they did the work. So in the end, does it matter if they do the work under the chair? Okay, that's an extreme example, but always think about ways that you can break the routine. Ask your students for advice as well. They might tell you a way to break the routine. Okay, what was next on the list? Do you remember what was under the green box? It was choice. Great. Lots of answers in the chat. I discovered choice boards last year and I've been using them a lot. So a choice board is a way of extending a unit. So I did a unit with 13-year-olds about inventions. Okay, everybody did the reading texts, they did a short project, we were learning structures like it is made of, and a little bit of the passive. This was invented in 1982. So we had grammar goals, we had a project goal, but some learners finish much faster. And this is an amazing way to give them choice and extra work. It is 9 activities that they could do whenever they want. They can do it at the end of the class. They can do it if they have 5 minutes between activities. They choose the one that they want. Some are shorter, some are longer. But the fact that they are choosing makes them really motivated to do these activities. I don't need to tell them to do the activity. So if you want to research choice boards, look on Google. Search for choice boards, EFL, English as a foreign language, or just choice boards, you'll find lots and lots and lots of examples. They can give you some ideas, and maybe you can adapt it to your own situation. My choice board was about a topic. Everything was inventions. But can you see one of them here on the screen? It's about grammar choice, adjectives. There's lots of different activities that will practice adjectives. So try them out, take a look. It's a lovely, lovely idea that I discovered recently. I wanted to share. Okay, so what was this green? It was involves students in classroom decision making. This could be really, really very simple, like, what do you want to do next? Or this often happens to me, look at the time. We only have 10 minutes left. I planned 2 activities, but I can't do them. So let's take a vote. Which one activity do you want to do? Show them the 2 activities on the worksheet and they can choose one of them. Or the class can vote and we choose one that I lead together. So it's a way to solve when you run over time in a lesson. And it's a way to let students know that the class is also for them. It's their class and they can have some say in what happens in the class. All right, let's see another. Look at the picture and do you remember the green words under, what was it? Yeah, lots of people have the answer already in the chat. Get feedback from the students. Okay, oops, sorry. So I like the really simple feedback slips that you can see there, the ones that are pink and green. You don't need pink and green expensive paper. You can do this with white paper as well. But if you do this, you really do find opinions that nobody will tell you in the class. You might find out, I wish my teacher knew that I'm sad today and I don't want to answer any questions. You might find something like, the most confusing thing I learned today in class was, and they tell you, I don't understand the past simple questions. You thought that all the class completely were fine and they understood, but you find a few people that didn't understand, and then you know that maybe you need to give some extra work or revise that. You learn a lot because these are anonymous, okay? They don't write their name on them. They could if you wanted to, but they could be anonymous. And because they're writing them, not saying them, there are lots of students who would never say the truth about your lesson, but they will write it. So asking for feedback on what the students like and what they don't like is really, really, really motivating for the students. Okay, what's next? You remember what this word was with O? Optimism. So if we're going to be a teacher that communicates and promotes optimism in learning, because people learn when they're happy and when they feel like there's an optimistic atmosphere in the room. And think about your classroom management words. I learned this in a course a couple of years ago, and it really changed a lot the things that I said in the classroom. A simple thing like, instead of be quiet, change it to a positive. Can you use a softer voice, or you can make it simpler if you want. I'm just going to answer a question in the chat. Someone says, can we have the slides after the webinar? Yeah, I'll ask if I can pass them to your facilitators, but there will be a recording. So we're making a recording, and that will be passed to your facilitators. I like the one with the question mark. Can you see it? Instead of, do you have any questions? It's very easy to say no to that. Because it feels like the teacher doesn't want you to have any questions. But if you change that to what questions do you have, it feels optimistic that you're waiting and wanting questions. So I like that. Okay, what's next? It is growth mindset. So teach your learners about learning. I like this very short video. I'll play you the start. I use it to teach teenage learners that they can always improve. They should never give up. I think it's really simple. I like it a lot. I'll show you it.
Researcher and professor Carol Dweck uses the term mindset to describe the way people think about ability and talent. Dweck delineates between two different mindsets that exist on a continuum. The first is the fixed mindset, which suggests that your abilities are innate and unchangeable. The second is a growth mindset, which views it as something you can improve through practice. In a fixed mindset, you view failure as permanent, but with a growth mindset, you see failure as a chance to learn and even pivot. Those with a fixed mindset are more likely to view critical feedback as a personal attack, while those with a growth mindset will see it as a chance to improve, where they can develop new systems. With a fixed mindset, you're more likely to choose easier tasks and put in minimal effort. After all, if talent is fixed, why bother improving? Why even try? But with a growth mindset, you're more likely to embrace challenging tasks and work hard to improve. Those with a fixed mindset are likely to give up when they face an obstacle. Meanwhile, those with a growth mindset will view obstacles as a chance to experiment and solve problems. In a fixed mindset, the focus is on measurable accomplishments. But with a growth mindset, the focus is more on a journey of continual improvement. With a fixed mindset, you're less likely to take creative risks. But with a growth mindset, creative risks are simply a way to innovate and improve.
Don't you think that's a lovely video that teenagers can learn from? The learners are in school so many hours learning. So taking a moment to help them learn about learning can be really valuable for some learners who maybe have had a negative experience in the language classroom and they don't think they're good about learning languages. Maybe they are right at the bottom of the class and they find that material really difficult. This will help them understand that they are performing against, well, not the class, but themselves. They can grow. It doesn't matter if they fail, they just try again. They are always able to grow. I really like that. And there is a video for much younger students. If you look at on YouTube, it's called Growth Mindset for Students from Class Dojo, which is a really great channel to subscribe to and a really good website. It's much more infantile. It's a cartoon, but it also teaches learners about growth mindset. That's why I recommend that. Okay, let's come back to our list. A teacher who motivates. What do you think? What's under here? Yeah, success. Yeah. So think about doing a portfolio at the end of every month or every term. I give my students this. It's called My Best Work. You can see that it's from not this year, but the year before. I gave them this in December when we were December in 2019, going to 2020. And they chose activities that were their best work. They said, I like this because, and they wrote 2 words they learned. This was something extra, like a revision activity. But the important thing is choosing the activities. They really also liked signing. Can you see the part that says sign? The students sign to confirm that it's their best work. And then the teacher signs that they agree. So this is a way of celebrating their success and also has some choice. So think about other ways to celebrate and experience success. Which of these classrooms celebrates success? The top one or the bottom one? Yeah, Gulmira, Akmaral, Natalia, Saule, lots of people say 2. The big difference is that we see posters, work on the walls. Now, I understand if your school does not allow you to put work on the walls, but if you can, then do it. You might think that the learners forget about these things, but they don't. Every time they see them, they're reminded of really good work that they did. It's a powerful but simple way of celebrating success. Okay, it's your turn now. Which of the things on this list, a teacher who motivates, which of the things on this list do you do often in the class? And what do you want to do more of? Can you share in the chat? Do you give choice? Do you take risks? Do you give good feedback? Ask the learners for feedback. What do you do? Someone said they use variety, choice. Lilia breaks the routine. Role plays. Lots of people are thinking about, lots of people mentioned choice. Great. I think that really is one of the really powerful things. Breaking the routine. Oh, I'm interested to know how you do that. Acting. Okay, this is brilliant. We have so many different answers. We can combine them all, then we have the most motivational class that is ever possible. So think of one thing on the list today that you maybe don't do enough. Keep that as your goal this term and think, okay, how can I take more risks in the class? How can I celebrate success more? So that's your challenge. It's now over to you. Okay, I promised that I would show you some motivational activities that I like. I think a motivational activity involves thinking, choice, it's not repetitive, you get to express your own ideas, it has a purpose and a learning outcome, and it's the right level for the learners, of course. So these are the backbone of motivational activities, really maybe of good, effective activities. We mentioned Bloom's taxonomy at the start. You might see it like this, or you might see it as building blocks. You might see it as a wheel. So the wheel is emphasizing that there's nothing wrong with doing activities which are about remembering and understanding. They're all connected. The building blocks is emphasizing that you can start with remembering and understanding activities, and then you can try to challenge and go up. So there's lots of different forms. I'm going to work with the boxes, the stacked boxes, and show you an activity that I like. It's about thinking in reading comprehension. So my question, what's on the screen? What is this? And what story, what famous old fairy tale, does it come from? Oh, you know it, Cinderella. We have fairy tale fans here. Okay, so Cinderella, we know the story. Maybe the younger students maybe won't know this. I'm not sure, because actually there are some new versions, I think, some new films of Cinderella. Okay, and I'm going to ask you questions that build from the bottom. Are you ready? So the first one is for remembering. After we read, do you remember what time did Cinderella leave the ball? Yeah, 12 at midnight. The ball is the special party, the party where they're dancing. Okay. Next question. Why was the glass slipper important? They had to find it. It helps to find her. Only she could wear it. Okay. Did Cinderella like the ball? She loved it. She did very much. Okay. Well, that's something that isn't written actually in the story. It doesn't say she loves the ball. We see her dancing. We see her smiling. So we apply some knowledge of what we know about the world, and we think, yeah, she likes the ball. Okay, so we've answered some lower order thinking questions that we know the answer to. We're not asking the students to tell us something new, but let's go further up into higher order thinking skills. If you're working with younger children, maybe this is a bit more difficult for them. The stepsisters tried the shoe, but why? They envy her, you say. Okay. They want to marry the prince. Let's go jumping up to creating and let's go back. Sorry. Jumping up to creating and evaluating. This is an old story, but do people still like it? And why? Why do they like it? You say they want to be a princess, maybe. They want to find happiness. They want to marry a prince. It's probably not going to happen for many people in the world. Maybe it's about finding happiness, having somebody look for you to take care of you. Maybe it's about getting out of a situation of poverty. Okay. So there's lots of evaluating there. We have to think about what we know about the world. We give our own opinions. Every answer is different. If you ask a room of students, it's really exciting to hear the answers. Okay, the one at the top, the red question, the creating question. Imagine that the prince breaks the glass slipper. How can he find her? What can he do? What answers do you have? And I will tell you some of the funny answers that my students told me. Oh, by the heart. Oh, you're so romantic. Okay. Oh, her eyes. Interesting. Because everyone has different eyes. Review the guest list. Very pragmatic and practical. Oh, voice. I like it. By smelling. Okay, that would be an interesting search. Smelling everybody in the town. Oh, I saw one amazing answer by email. Okay, that is similar to what my student said. Yes, someone said it. Asem said GPS. My student said GPS or Facebook or Instagram, because they said a prince will definitely have an Instagram. So they were thinking really about 21st century story, but I love their creativity. They asked me lots of words. How do you say this? How do I say, it writes an email? They wanted to tell me their ideas for the story. Everybody has a different answer, and that's motivating. So we started building the level of the questions, and I use that all the time when I'm planning questions for a story or a reading comprehension or even a listening. So I start with questions which are based on fact, remembering, understanding, maybe applying some information. But then I also try to add some questions, build up, and get some different answers, some creativity. My students find that really motivating. And I tell you a secret, it motivates me too, because I'm going to teach the same lesson to 6 different classes, and I already know the story. So I obviously want to help them verbalize their answers to the questions at the bottom. But I am motivated by hearing their answers, and I feel my motivation connecting with them. So I think it's motivating for all to do this activity, because classrooms are strange, because we often ask questions that we know the answer to. That's crazy. So it's not always motivating for us, the teachers or the students, but the higher order thinking skills are more motivating for the teacher. And I think they're more motivating for the learners as well. So that's something to think about. Someone suggested some other ideas. I'm going to read them in the chat. Acting or creating parts of it. Oh, I love it. They could suggest a new part or a new view to the old story. Make Cinderella 21st century princess. I love those ideas. Those would be fantastic writing tasks or group speaking tasks. I like it a lot. Great. So it doesn't have to be a fairy tale. You could do the same activity with something that your students watch. So if they're older, they don't want to talk about Cinderella, then my students that are 13 watch this series called Stranger Things. We could devise questions for that. They could even write the questions for that. It could be about a video. So I used this a few weeks ago. I use Learn English Kids website a lot, and it's a video about how to grow a bean plant. It's about learning some simple words connected with growing. You could start with some factual questions and then add some more. Add some evaluating questions. All right, it's time for you. Can you think of some motivating, higher order thinking questions for this reading text? It's from Learn English Teens. It's a postcard. It's a postcard from my home country. I'm from Scotland and Edinburgh is my city. So maybe you can think of some understanding questions they could ask. The reason for the green is because the focus, the original activity was about contractions. But do you have any analyzing questions that you could ask them? Do you have any creating questions that you could add to this activity? Because this activity has comprehension questions. Okay, they're okay. How can we make it higher order thinking? Do you have any ideas? Oh, write a reply. I like that. That's a great idea. Yeah. Create your own card, maybe for your city. Nice. You could start by paraphrasing, underlining, giving definitions, yeah. And then a higher order question. If you were in Scotland, would you go to see Loch Ness? Nice. I have to tell you that I'm Scottish. I've never been to see Loch Ness. It's a place that lots of tourists go, but it's too busy. I've never been. Compare your city and Edinburgh. Great, I like it. What would you do if you saw the monster? That's really fun. So it's very clear that you have so many motivating activities to do, and you're thinking about why they're motivating. They're motivating because they're asking for answers that you don't already know, answers for questions at the top of the list of thinking skills. So moving from facts to motivating, interesting things. Of course, doing the comprehension questions or doing the grammar work or doing the vocabulary work, we don't skip it, we don't miss it, but we're looking for what can be more motivating after that. Great. All right, it's time for some sharing. Do you have a favorite motivating activity? Tell us about it in the chat. I would love to hear about your motivating activities. What do you do with your classes? Some people have put their hand up, so I'm going to turn on your your microphone if you want. If you have your hand up, I can give you permission to talk. So you can put your microphone on if you want and tell us a motivating activity.
Hello.
Hi, I see you. Yeah, tell us. Do you have an activity for us?
Hello, Melissa. It's the first time. Okay, I would like to say about my activity. Usually, when I'm starting lesson, I'm starting with a warm up, and I'll just give 5 words usual, and try to, for example, it will be maybe 3 nouns, verbs, and adjectives, and we just make sentences within these words.
Ah, so
And
they have to connect
this,
them.
yeah,
Cool, I love it.
and usually these words we use during the lesson. It's just active words, active vocabulary.
Ah, the lesson that's coming or the lesson that has passed?
The lesson is coming, and maybe it's overall unit. Overall unit, we try to make it to introduction to the unit.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's a lovely activity. They've got lots of choice of how they can make a sentence.
And maybe sometimes I just try to take some words just to make a story with it, just a little like a story maybe, and try to motivate them working during the lesson, try to do something with these words. Warming up.
I really love that. So that's like a routine at the start of the class. Oh, I'm going to copy you. I'm going to use it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for sharing. Does somebody else want to share? You can share.
Yes.
Hi, Gulnar. Feel free.
Hi. We use in our lessons brainstorming activities like hot cabbage.
Oh, what's this?
Yeah, it's we take new words about the topic and make a ball and give every pupil to us, and they take one paper and answer for the questions or maybe new words in 3 languages.
Oh, hot cabbage. I don't know that. All right. Oh, so you're asking them to make connections between the English and Kazakh and Russian, and they do it in all the languages.
Yes. In 3 languages.
Oh, wow. That's challenging. Nice. Do they get competitive about trying to, is there something where they get points?
May you repeat once more?
Do they get points? Is there a competition part of it?
Yes, we do like a competition and give them some sweets maybe or motivating with fingers, like good.
Nice. Oh, that's really nice. It's really nice. The quick activities can be really motivating because they make us surprised and fun. Thank you so much for sharing, Gulnar.
Yes.
Maybe we've got time for one or two more people. Does anybody else want to share? I see lots of hands up. You can talk. I'm turning on microphones, as many as I can. There's some lovely activities I see in the chat. I don't know what they are. Magic eyes, fishbone. I'm not sure. You can describe them, then that would be great. Oh, Shadra writes picture dictation. I really like that. Running
May I
dictation
share my
too.
experience?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes, so usually I work with high school students, and
Mhm.
at the beginning of the lesson, I try to find topic which are interested for them. And usually I use such activity like debate in high school. For example, due to remote learning, I give them this task like pros and cons of remote learning, and they are so interested in this topic. And I divide the class into two groups, and they begin to discuss this topic. Just one group uh, will tell
Mm.
about positive moments of remote learning, and another group should tell negative points of remote learning. So I think that we have to give them choice of topic, or which topic is more interesting for them.
Yeah, I didn't include that on the list, and I definitely think I should have. Thanks very much. I like that a debate idea. I've just realized the time, and I'm going to have to say that's the end. And I'm sorry, we've run out of time, but I think you should continue talking about motivation in your group forum tasks, because this group has so much to share. So I'm going to finish now because I know there is another webinar for some people starting soon. Thank you for all your
For you,
participation. Thank you for your ideas, and I hope we meet again soon. Bye.
bye.